Alright, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and push these cuticles back. As you can see, this is real time, so I'm not rushing, I'm not going too fast or too slow, I'm just taking my time. I am putting a little pressure just so I can really push those cuticles back because they were stuck just a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and cut the dead skin off. So just remember, when you're doing this, make sure you're really careful and taking your time, because you can cut your client, especially if your nippers are very sharp like mine, and you don't ever want to drag. I kind of like flicker it just so it kind of helps it get off the skin, but I'm doing this really careful. This is real time. I'm not rushing. Again, especially with this, you don't ever want to rush when you have a nipper in your hand. Also, I want to apologize in advance if sometimes the nails will be out of frame, because when I set up my camera, I had no idea how to set it up. I just kind of put it on there and I just started doing nails, so I'm so sorry. So once that's done, I'm going to go ahead with my sanding band, a new sanding band, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of any shine on the nails, buffing it and just prepping it so I can apply my nail tips. So you want to make sure that you're always moving, so you're not creating any friction, and you're doing this very gentle, and you are doing this on low speed. Also, I'm making sure that I'm getting in all the crevices, especially around the cuticles. So now we're ready for some nail tips. She does want them very long. Not very long, but long. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And as you guys can see, I'm just grabbing, measuring, and then making sure it's right. And then that right there, it was too small, so I went ahead and grabbed a new one. And then measured it and put the glue. And you always want to measure sidewall to sidewall before you don't ever use too small or too big. Like this, sidewall to sidewall. And sometimes if you don't have any other choice, I would probably go for bigger than smaller, if that makes sense, because you can file the bigger size down to fit the nail. But yeah, you want to make sure it's the right size that fit the nails. And she also wants almond nails this time, so we're going to go ahead and use our curved nail clippers to trim the sides. You don't ever want to trim too much because it's going to look weird. And this is the easiest trick for perfect almond, and I will show you guys here in a sec when I file it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and file. I'm literally just making like filing at a 45-degree angle, kind of turning them into a coffin or a ballerina. And then once I get them to be narrow, I'm going ahead and filing the edges and curving them and kind of shaping them into an almond, to a pointy tip. I don't know, I'm the worst at explaining stuff, but I hope that kind of makes sense. Like, you want to make sure you're filing them as narrow as they preferred, as the client preferred, and then you go ahead and file the sides like this. So I'm gonna shut up and let you guys watch. I know I said I'm gonna shut up, but it's like I'm just gonna explain it one more time. So the easiest way, I guess, is like following what I cut. So as you guys can see right there, I just filed, making the edges a little bit softer, and then I'm just filing the edges, like I'm just following what I cut using my curved nail tips. That's why I like using curved nail tips if I have a client that prefers almond nails or want almond nails. And then, you know, I flip their hands and stuff just to make sure that everything looks good. So this part is optional. You can do this or you can totally skip this. I do like just blending the nail tips onto the natural nails. And so sorry, my son is in the background. He's banging on his high chair. So now that's done, we're going to go ahead and spray and scrub and sanitize and dehydrate our nails using our homemade swipe. I always talk about my homemade swipe or my swipe dupe because it's the best. It literally just never fails. After I apply the swipe, I go ahead and prime using my Young Nails Protein Bond. And again, I do this twice. I always prime twice, and I do one nail or one hand at a time because the other hand, usually my clients like to touch their phones or scratch their hair or, and then oils just get on there anyways. And so we're not trying to do that. So here, we're going to focus on one hand at a time. Okay, so this is my favorite part. Again, as you can see, I'm just applying my first bead. I always do the 3-bead method, and I teach that to all my students because it's the easiest, it's the best way to build your apex, and just like it allows you to, have a smooth application. So again, I apply my bead and I let gravity do its work. So after the first bead, we're gonna go ahead and apply the second bead, and I apply it just on top of the first bead, and then I feather it down, and that's how I create my apex. And apex doesn't mean a bump on your nail or a big blob on your nail. It means the thickest part of your nail. So that's why I'm working to get that. And then on the third bead, I apply that near the cuticle. I always call it the cuticle bead. And I just push that up as close as I can. And then the rest, I'm just going to feather it down. And you guys can see my apex. You don't need a big bump or a big blob there as like to make it thick and make it strong. As long as you have your apex, you don't need thick nails unless it's a preference, but you don't need thick nails. So we're going to go ahead and do that again here. Apply our first bead, and again letting gravity work. And as you guys can see, I always point the finger down. I do sometimes like tap it down just so I'll get there faster, or I'll do nails faster. But as you guys can see, it's still smooth, and then we're going to go ahead and apply our second bead. Okay, so now we're applying our second bead, and again, I'm just tapping the top part and then feathering the rest down. And this is how, again, I create my apex. But if you are doing this and you feel like it's gonna break or you need it to just be a little bit thicker, that is fine. That's your own preference. You can add more, you can add less. It's all up to you or your client. Like if they tell you like, I want my nails thicker, then make it thicker. Like this is literally just how I do my nails or do my clients' nails, unless they request it to be thicker, or they're like, I want thicker nails because I am hard on my nails, then I do it. But other than that, this is just how I do my nails. And if I spill anything in the cuticles or on the sides, I make sure I clean that up as well. And again here, we're going to apply our first bead. And mind you, again, you guys are already noticed, but this is real time. I didn't speed it up, I didn't slow it down. This is real time, so this is just how I work. And sometimes I tap it down, sometimes I let it kind of run down to the tip or to the free edge, but mostly I let gravity help me. That will be your best friend. Gravity will be your best friend. So make sure you're always pointing down your nail so it's not spilling on the cuticles or on the rest of the nail. And then we're going to go ahead and apply the second bead. And I always ask again, when it comes to thickness, I always ask my clients, like, okay, is this thick enough? Like, or do you want it to be thicker? Because sometimes this is just how I do it, and then I forget. Sometimes they just like the thicker look, or they need it to be thicker. So I always do ask my clients. But again, this is just how I do my nails. So again, this is the 3-bead method, and this is the method I teach to all my students, and I will link in the description box below our website so you can sign up for our nail course if you're interested, or if you want to learn. I will link that down below. I just want to show you guys the look, like just perfect. And she looks good from the side and just everything. She looks good. So now we're going to go ahead and do the other hand. And again, like I said, I didn't prime it, so I'm going to prime it right now and then go ahead and apply the acrylics. So this is the look after I apply the acrylics. I love this color, and then I'm going to go ahead and refile it. I did refile the rest, I just didn't film it, but I'm just going to go ahead and just sharpen the edges. I do just want to say that I'm using Cover Rosebud by Young Nails, and my favorite color, hands down. So now on to sealing the cuticle. I am using my medium drill bit, and I'm just gently, again, this is real time, so I'm just gently going around the cuticles. And then after I go through the cuticles, sorry, my son is just going crazy. Anyways, after I go through the cuticles, I go ahead and file the rest of the nail, just to smoothen it out. And then I always follow with my sanding band to buff it out, because I don't really like using the buffers anymore. I just go and use my sanding band and just kind of buff it out on low speed as well. gonna go ahead and dust her off and scrub her with some rubbing alcohol and apply the top coat. She didn't really want designs this time. Usually she does get designs when I did do her nails. This is my husband's cousin, but when she used to get her nails done by me 3 years ago, before I left Alpharetta or Georgia, she would get fancy designs. But this time we're gonna keep it simple. And we are done, and I just want to say thank you guys for watching. I've been trying to make more content so I can post more. I've been really proud of myself, but stay tuned till the end of the video so you guys can see the final look.